basketball sweeping the Conference Player of the Week awards. On the men's side, DeSanta Bradford wins it after in 3 games last week, averaging 18.7 rebounds and 4 assists. The men are home tomorrow against Samford. The women, senior guard Tiana Tarter wins the Conference Player of the Week. They are at UNC Greensboro tomorrow. With a sports flash on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities, I'm Matt Pauley.
Welcome back, Tri-City Sports Now. Now, again, just like recruiting that I said at the start of the show, we're going to have to wait and see what kind of a job Fulmer does as the athletic director. But, just because he won a national championship as a coach, I mean, look at Vince Dooley. Look how far the football program at Georgia, and Dooley is the classiest act you'd ever see. But after he left in 88, look how far the football program dropped under him. Of course, there's a lot shorter distance for Tennessee to drop. I mean, it's basically a nowhere to go but up for them right now. There's certain levels here. It's just not fathomable for UT to go 0-12 the way, let's say, Central Florida did 2 years ago. Yeah, now the national champion, Central Florida. Or at least if you ask them, they are. But yeah, they were 11-1, 0-12, now 13-0. Go figure it. The point, though, that I do want to make in this whole thing with Fulmer, I mean, obviously you're going to have to find out, but yeah, it is just so Fulmer. Oh, yeah, I'll maneuver my way into the AD. I'll, ride my crest of popularity, be it a 3-0 record as an interim coach in 92, or be it after good memories when the football program seems to be in disarray. And he's, what is his background for being an AD? In this day and age, the ex-coach getting the AD job, it's not what it once was. As mentioned, I'd say what's next for Kirk Cousins. I think I can get to that in the next edition. And it's just basically, why are people talking about the Jets and Cousins? But I wanted to talk about this real fast. The Major League Baseball, there's talk about pace of play. Now, one rule, it's been in softball for a while in terms of softball competition, is that once you get to a certain point in extra innings, they decide to start the extra innings by putting a runner on second base. And this will speed up the game, and I hate this rule. I hate it in softball. There have been actually pitchers that have lost perfect games because of it. That's not baseball. Well, guess what? Rob Manfred, no intentional walks, no Chief Wahoo, and now no extra inning games wants to do. Wants to add runners in the 11th inning of the All-Star game in a pace of play idea. It's not pace of play, it's length of games. Pace of play means Zane Smith, get ball, throw ball, fast worker. We could teach our pitchers to do that now and not be like Daniel Norris, taking 27 seconds between pitches, and we'd speed up the pace of play. We could also eliminate the DH, and that would take off at least 5 minutes from every game right off the bat. Banning the intentional walk, eliminate, and I know it's something of a routine, I won't even go, it's a chore. I mean, eliminating the possibility of a wild pitch, or the deke, like what happened in 1972 in the World Series, so that, you every few games save a minute, is not good for baseball. But now the idea, and you'll remember 2002 All-Star Game ended in a tie. So for that matter, did the 1961 All-Star Game. But the idea is a runner would be put on second base at the start of the 11th inning of the All-Star Game, and each additional inning, according to the latest pace, it's not pace of game. Call it length of game proposal put down by Rob Manfred. The experiment also be used in spring training games beginning in the 10th inning. According to the January 9 proposal obtained by the Associated Press, spring training games would then be capped at 10 innings. By the way, it's not unlikely I can say that a lot of times they'll say, okay, we're out of pitchers now, or this is who we were going to use. Let's stop the game here. And you do have tie games in spring training and such. The thing that I hate about this, it's a gimmick. And the one thing I hate about sports is the gimmick. And now it should be said last year, the Gulf Coast and Arizona leagues, they started doing this. Those are the low minors. There was actually some talk of doing it in the Appalachian League, and they said, Lee Landers was on this show and said that they would have approved it if they decided to start the runner at second base in the 12th inning, but they wanted to do it in the 11th. Gulf Coast and Arizona leagues, which are really low-level rookie leagues, they started to do it in the 10th. Now then, extra inning games for those two leagues average 27 minutes longer than 9-inning games, down from 43 minutes for all other minor league games. Essentially, they had a gimmick, tried to decide, well, just give you a runner at second, bunt him over and get him in on a sac fly. Riveting. Not even... Now, players rejected this pace of play proposal from Major League Baseball on January 18th. Two sides are still talking. I'm all for speeding up baseball. I've explained how to do it. Emphasize, first of all, yes, get rid of the DH. Emphasize working faster. Emphasize complete games. That's how you do it. Major League Baseball now has the right to implement the proposal it made last season due to their agreement, which includes a 30-second clock between batters and a 20-second clock between pitches that would reset when the pitcher steps off the rubber or where he makes and feigns a pickoff throw. This is according to the Associated Press. They've learned details. There would also be a limit of one mound trip per pitcher each inning, whether by a manager, coach, or player, and a second visit would result in a pitching change. Well, you've got, that as well. Violations would be punished by ball strike penalties. Really? And by the way, what would that be? If you were going to put an extra ball, if you were going to make a 1-0 count, and you really wanted to talk to somebody, might you do that? By the way, I can say that I think this would actually potentially increase the length of games. I can recall, one time I can recall a game and going to, and give you the, Jason Kendall. Jason Schmidt was the pitcher. This was a Pirate game. And he had just walked the bases loaded. Next batter comes up, and I'm thinking, you walk the bases loaded. What does the catcher got to do? He's got to go out to the mound, talk to his pitcher, right? He's got to settle him down. Jason Kendall was the catcher at the time. He wasn't noted for being a very good handler of pitchers. He did not do this. Next batter comes up, it's a grand slam. Now that continues the pace of play right there. Okay? That's going, you've got a grand slam home run. That takes a little more time than the catcher going out there, pace yourself, don't worry, blah, blah, blah. Made a 1-1 game into a 5-1 game. Anyway, the circumstance here, Angels owner Artie Moreno doesn't think radical changes are needed. Maybe he should be the baseball commissioners. Under the latest baseball proposal, there would be a pitch timer this year only when there are no runners on base. It would be set at 18 seconds. I still think you're going to have pitchers that'll then take all the 18 seconds, and since they're sped up, they're going to throw more balls, and that's going to increase more length of play. That's my opinion. 20-second timer with runners on base in 2019, where I guess we then, I don't know what we do at that point in baseball, whether we just, have 5 bases at this time. I don't know. Clock would not be used for the pitch following a foul ball or an umpire calling time. No penalties in April. There would be a 35-second timer between at-bats. Penalties would not start until a team's third violation in a game. Isn't baseball the perfect sport because it has no clock? Isn't that what we all say? Aren't those games that you play like on Stratomatic and all that? You can't play the dice games with the time games. Baseball is the Stratomatic game, the APA game, and it works so well because there is no clock. There would be a 35-second timer between at-bats. There would not be a ball strike penalty for violations this year. Frequent violators would be subject for discipline for just caught. What the? You're not even... Good night. Union is out there. Management would also agree to the union proposals that be a between inning and pitching change timers at 2:05 for most games. Of course, the national TV games, it goes to 2:25 and 2:55 for postseason games. I never quite understood that. I know you want to sell more ads, all this. I get that. I just think that you're better off with in-game reads. I also think you're better off charging more for the ads in the postseason than, and making your money up that way. Teams also, let's see here. So there's it's just getting to the point now where we're changing baseball from what it always was, from when we're making it and bastardizing it. Remember, baseball was the most popular sport in the country before they started tinkering with it, before they started using things like the DH, before they started putting too many teams in the playoffs. Now all they want to do is double down on gimmicks, and they think that's going to cater to millennials? Really? And being politically correct. Tri-City Sports Now.
Happy hour